Hi everybody. I thought I would just drop in and do a quick little vlog. Actually, I'm about to start recording my sewing, like per day what I get up to this week. But I thought I would come in and talk about this little beauty just here. So I came back from Birmingham with well, I didn't have new friends because I knew the girls online, but I did come back with one very special sewing friend. So if you can see it, it is a Singer Featherweight 221 1951 machine. There's a story. I'm going to start with the story and then I'll show you what I've made today on it. So I had a Singer 99k machine. I bought it from a charity from eBay for about £24, and it cranked, but the needle didn't go up and down. It needed some work. Anyway, I used to have it in here. You might remember seeing it before many years ago as like a bit of a display, but ultimately I wanted to get it working. So my lovely new sewing friend Paula, who I met on Sew Virtual and is rapidly becoming quite a big important friend in my life, she got a Singer 15, is it S or L? I can't remember, machine. And well, she was getting one and she was sharing the restoration process. So the machine was being restored by Frank, who is I'll put it in because I've forgotten. So sorry, Frank. Wood by Fraz, I think. And there's a family connection to him without going into details, and she didn't have the machine. So I followed the process through and I was absolutely thrilled for her. She's like me, she likes to do, you know, she's getting started with bag making. And so I said to her, would Frank take a look at my 99k machine? And so a plan was born. I was thinking I can take it to Birmingham, I can give it to Paula, she can get it restored by Frank, and we would take like a little day trip over to where Paula lives, near not far away from Blackpool, a couple of hours drive to pick it up. But I did also know that I probably wanted to get an electric motor put on. So I started chatting to Frank, and Frank gave me a great quote, like a really, really good price. Frank, you're really underselling yourself in your prices, to get it firstly serviced, up and running, and then obviously any parts that were needed. There was a couple of things I knew it needed, like a needle plate, and I knew it probably obviously needed a really good oil. It probably needs a few more things. If you're interested in all machines, give him a follow on Instagram and Facebook, because he shares the machines. He's just done one that's like 150 years old in this wooden box. Beautiful. So that was that. That was the plan. I got the price for the motor. It was all very good. We were set to go. And then we were on Sew Virtual and we were asking about Paula's machine because she got it. It was in the background. She'd made a bag on it, I think. And she said, oh yeah, my sister sent me a video of a funny little Singer today that he's got in. And I was like, is it a featherweight? Because I don't think I really knew about featherweights till Lou came to Sewtown and pulled this sewing machine out of, I think it was like a basket, not like a basket we used to take to cookery at school. I think it was. I mean, I might have made up that completely in my head. But this beautiful little machine that she takes all over, portable. And then my friend Julie also has one, and she goes on very long canal holidays and uses it to sew. Now, like many of you, I don't need a reason, and some of you are going to go, oh my god, Alison, how many machines do you need? But I think I just had it in my head. So when Paula said about this little one, I thought, if it's a featherweight and I can afford it, because it can be quite expensive, I think I'm going to go for it. Anyway, long story short, Frank does an amazing job, not just at restoring the machines, but he makes donations to charities from the restorations as well. Often those charities are charities that work with people to help them sew abroad, that kind of thing. So really good cause. So I started having a conversation with Frank. He told me the price of the featherweight. That was all completely up and running. With my 99k, it was in really good physical condition, like all of the black on it and the gold. And I didn't really want that to be restored. I kind of like that, oh, what's that word? Can't remember what it's called, the icky get mirrors. I really like that effect, but it was in good condition. But it was more important to me that mechanically it worked okay. So I saw a video of the Featherweight, the 221, in Frank's workshop, which I loved because my dad was a workshop guy. I used to love going in his, at the back of his garage, where he had jigs on the bench and he would do all his woodwork, and he used to kind of glue all wood together and carve it into lamp bases and pictures and all things like that. It could build anything. So, you know, looking at a machine would have been right up his street as well. You know, when you can almost smell the sawdust. And yeah, well, that was it. I fell in love. So I did a deal with Frank. I bought the machine. It was an excellent price. I knew that it was, and I wasn't prepared to let it go. And I gifted the 99k to Frank to restore and sell on and donate to charity. And he asked Paula and Paula's sister Kelly if they would like to choose the charity, and all of their family in the past have been fishermen, so they chose the RNLI. So I think that's lush. And then things kind of spiral a bit. So Jan was on So Virtual when we were talking about it, and she said, I haven't got my mum's machine, but I've still got some of her feet. So she brought those feet to Birmingham, and we've now passed those on to Frank as well. So yeah, what a nice loop to be in. So I'll put a little bit of video footage in that I recorded actually at Birmingham. I took it out of the box the first night. But today I've actually made a bestie bag. It's almost finished. I've done that stupid thing. This is made out of a dress. I've mentioned it in my sewing plans. It's royal blue cord. But the rest of the dress has now gone, and I realised I haven't got the bit to do like the loops on the end that I would usually put the hardware on. But I've ordered some. I wasn't happy with the webbing that I had either, so I've ordered some royal blue webbing today. So all I'm doing is waiting for the webbing to come, and then I'm going to create the strap out of that, and I'm just going to put it into this end of the bestie bag. So I can't quite show you it finished, but I will when I've got that on my regular Friday sews. But basically I've done everything. I've put the zip in, I've used the zipper foot. I've now got 2 different sizes of zipper foot. I think I've got most of the feet apart from buttonhole feet. So yeah, I've just really enjoyed the process, like slowing it down, made myself an extra cup of coffee, took my time, had my headphone in, I had Sun Street on, listening to Stuart Hillard, chatting to the Sussex seamstress today, and just really enjoyed that process. And I just thought, like, how amazing, like how amazing to have this machine up and running. And you know, I would have been very happy with the other one, but I could barely lift it. It was so heavy. And obviously the amazing thing about these is they come in their own box. I'll get the box. Just while I remember, what I'm wearing today is, it's the Judy dress. I got this cotton lawn at our Stitch In Tyne social. It was on the swaps table, but I've done it as the top. I made it last year, and I'm going to make some more of these, you know, when I get through my other 900 plans. But it's really pretty. I've just got it on with my barrel leg jeans today. So this is the box that it comes in. Carl said the other day, why have we got a record box in our living room? So there's the size of my head, but that's about the size that it is. Maybe 12 by 12-ish. Just open it up. Sorry, I'm turning it around. The box, Frank said there's some damage to the box. There is a little bit, but you know what? 1951, guys. I kind of like that it's been used. I don't want it to be pristine. There's a story. It's lived a life. I wonder how many homes it's had. It has got a little brass plaque on it. I'll take a close-up so you can see it. And it's for a sewing shop in Kendal, which doesn't exist anymore. So at some point it's lived at Kendal. Frank's over, not Preston way, but over, well, I'm not sure exactly where he is, but Paula's over that way. So it's probably has come from over there. So in the top of the box, the presser foot's still out, but the presser foot lives in here. This is my Singer box that I already had. So some of the presser feet are in there. You've got your bobbins all slot onto these little hooks there. I've got some spare needles, just all the normal. I've got some of the foot, I think that's the ruffler foot. I mean, and I wish I could. Right, Breathe in. Now, it's not old as in feistiness, you know what I mean? It just smells of oldness and oil. And it just, yeah, it's obviously evoking memories of a childhood, you know, sitting on my nana's treadle machine when I was a kid, and then sitting on my mum's sewing machine. So yeah, I've not grown my vintage machine, so technically I've got rid of a machine and got machines. I haven't got any more machines, so that makes it all right, doesn't it? Yeah, and what I'm gonna do eventually is, I'm just gonna lock that so it doesn't fall on the floor and the feet go everywhere. Even the noise of the box is lovely. What I'm going to do eventually, I do want to play with it. Obviously, I've got lots of fancy singing and dancing sewing machines, as many of us do. But I'm going to set it up as a free motion quilt machine, because I've got lots of quilty things going through my head, you know, after the quilt festival last week. And that means I can literally lift it off the shelf. I am going to put a cover on before anybody kind of, so it's not going to be completely exposed all the time. But I do want to see it. I don't want it to be packed away. But actually, when I go to the social, sometimes at Sawtoon, or the one that we have in the, what used to be the cafe at Tesco's, I might not want to take all my big machines. This will be perfect if I want to go and do some like quilt work or something. Why not? I've made a bestie bag with it today. Everything's in there. Everything's in one box. All I need is like some scissors in there and I'm sorted. And an unpicker. We always need one of those. So yeah, sorry I can't show you it in any detail, but basically this is the bestie bag. This is the lining. The holes in the lining, ready to pull it through, and I just need to construct my strap, pop it on the inside into there and then turn it through, and we're good to go. I'm also in the process of selling my Prim Verio Creative. I'm trying to sell it locally, but if I don't, I might put it on my Instagram and see if anybody's interested in that. Nothing wrong with it at all, but my birthday's coming up like in a couple of months. I'm a bit advanced and I want to get a green machine because I want to put rivets in and things like that into bags and straps. I'd really like to do that. And I could do that on that, but I think I need something a bit meatier for the bag making. I've used it on shirts and things like that. So yeah, I'll show you that when I don't want to kind of give birth to it and then have to stuff it all back in again. But I'm so pleased with how it handled it, because this already had like a seam, because it was a pinafore dress that I'd made. So that's already on quite a chunky seam, and then the other seams handled it no bother. I know the mortar in this is probably a bit more delicate than the 99k would be, but you know, it's portable and it doesn't weigh like 300 stone, so that's absolutely fine. So yes, I just thought I'd share it with you today. So that's where I'm up to, and isn't she cute? Yeah. All right, just a little extra from me. Wishing you lots of fabulous sewing, and I'll see you on Friday.